Hello lads and ladies, and welcome to this and welcome back for another video on the channel. Today we are having a look at some League One predictions. We've done our table predictions, we've done table aims. We're now going through each match day, have a look at the score. Now this is match day 1, and if this does well, we'll carry it on. Down below as well, you put it down below as well. So we'll say 3 points if you get a correct score. 1 point if you get a correct result, no point if you don't get it right. And then we'll add them up at the end of the season and who does what. Again, 12 games, it's a full week of fixtures. Looking forward to this. And there's a lot of good games as well. There's a lot of already, I can see relegation battles, mid-table ties. And you look at some like Wednesday, Portsmouth, they'll both be looking at the top end of the table. Plymouth, Barnsley is another good game. Derby Oxford is another great game. And at the bottom end, you've got Vale, Fleetwood. You've got Morecambe against Shrewsbury. And then you've got Ipswich against Bolton at the top end as well. So there's a lot of good games. Let's get on with this video. If you could like and subscribe, that would mean the world. Let's get on with it. Accrington against Cheltenham. Aki did really well last year. Most of that was down to the home form. Cheltenham were woeful, especially on the road at times. I've gone for an Accrington win. I think they'll, carry on at the Crown Ground, doing really well. I've gone for a 2-1 win. I think with Charlton, they're in a bit of a transition period. Accrington know the roles. They know what to do. They're at home. Good manager. Bumper crowd. They're going to win this one 2-1. Bristol Rovers against Forest Green Rovers. A League 2 tie of last year. Bristol Rovers probably the better form at the end of the season, obviously. Went an unbelievable run. I think they won 8 of the last 11 and only lost 1. They were scoring goals for fun. And they scored 4 against Rochdale, 7 against Scunthorpe. I think it was 3 against Port Vale. But I backed them to win there. Memorial Ground, at home. 2-0 win for me. Clean sheet, good start, and a win. Cambridge against MK Dons. It's a tough game, this. MK Dons will be taking a strong crowd. It's like a local derby, really. Cambridge did well last year. MK Dons have had a really good window. Although they have lost 2 of the better players, they still replaced them with, good players. The 3 that they've lost, Kasumu, Darling and Twine, are big losses. But to bring players of Will Griggs quality into the football club, along with many others, Ethan Robson, Jamie Cumming, are back. MK Dons have a good season and to get off to a good start, a 2-1 win for me away from home. Cheltenham are another team that did really well last year and was strong, especially at home. Alfie May was scoring a lot of goals, but they're playing Peterborough, who will want to get off to a good start. And Grant McCann is a good manager. He's a better manager this time around than he was 5 years ago when he first managed him at the football club. I'm going for a 3-1 win to the Posh. That's 2 away wins in a row after 2 home wins. Again, the away wins are normally lesser percentage. Obviously, the only year that he's been a higher percentage was the year with COVID, and that just shows you what fans can do to stadiums. Derby Oxford now. Derby needs to get off to a good start because you've seen with Ipswich last year, they didn't start too greatly. They drew on the opening day to Morecambe, and after that, it was tensions all arising. They need to have to go stop, but they played a very good side. I can see this being a hyped up game, big crowd, and it just ended 0-0. And, Brannigan's leaving Oxford, which is a big blow for them in midfield. They're going to have to replace. I don't think they've had a great window. The director of football isn't at Oxford anymore, apparently. So it's all down to Carl Robinson and the owners and the scouts. So they need to get that hole addressed. Because that has really been Oxford's forte in the last few years as well. Ipswich Bolton. Now, this was a cracker last year. Bolton came away with winners as well. Ipswich are strong at home under McKenna. They've had a great window. Dominic Ball, Freddie Ladapo, Lee. They've just signed another player for 950 grand, which is ridiculous. Strong side. There's going to be 28,000 Ipswich fans in the stadium, which is phenomenal support. Bolton will take a good number as well, which they always do. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Ipswich win. I think just at home. I don't think it'll faze Bolton. I think a 1-0 defeat they can move on from. But it's going to be a really tight game between two good sides who both play good football, they play it the correct way, good fan bases, good infrastructure now at both football clubs. And this could go a long way to deciding the title or to automatic promotion or the playoffs because how good those two sides are. Lincoln Exeter. Now, Lincoln were poor last year for their standards. At home, they were awful. The previous year, they got into the playoffs based on they could keep a clean sheet, the home form, and how good at the back they were. And they're going to have to be good at the back again if they want to challenge or have a good year in the top 10, the top 12, because I don't think in the forward line area they've got enough. I know they've got Scully and Morgan Whittaker came in last year, did okay, but obviously he's left the football club now. It was only a loan deal that. I still back them to beat Exeter. I've not had a good week for all the newly promoted sides, bar Bristol Rovers at the moment, who got a win. But for me, I think Lincoln will just have enough at home and it's a good start. Morecambe against Shrewsbury. Now, Morecambe at home, they were good last year towards the end of the season at home. It was just away from home, they weren't great. They beat Fleetwood, they beat Crewe away from home. They beat Cheltenham away from home late in the year. They weren't great away. They beat the sides that they should have beaten, in fairness, in Crewe and Fleetwood, which basically kept them up in the end. Shrewsbury have improved well, but we always say this every year with Shrewsbury. They improve, but they don't strengthen. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. And I think if you ask both sets of fans, would you take a point now? You probably would. Morecambe up and running with a point. But it's a game that both sides should be looking at to win, to get 3 points, because that's always your first aim of the season, is to get your first win, especially at home, because it can be a burden. Plymouth against Barnsley, two good sides. Home Park is a fortress. I like Home Park. Great atmosphere. They haven't really lost anyone, Plymouth, but they've just improved really well. They've kept Camera, they've kept Cooper in goal, they've kept Jeffcott, they've kept Hardy, so they've kept the core of the squad and also added, you know, a decent amount of players. You know, Matt Butcher's a great signing, Mikael Miller's an unbelievable signing, but Barnsley are strong as well. New manager, new phase, but I've gone for a Plymouth 2-0 win. I just think sometimes when sides come down, they start slow and then get better as the season to go on, because the best time to start face a newly relegated side is the first 3 or 4 games of the season, I believe, because you don't want to play them in January, February when they're on the groove and they're just knocking out the window 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. I reckon Plymouth will win this 2-0. Port Vale Fleetwood, two evenly matched sides. Vale haven't done much this summer. They've only had about a 7-week period of no games. Fleetwood stayed up with 40 points last year and they weren't good enough. They've improved slightly. Both sides I've got to finish in my bottom 6 at the end of the year, but both sides staying up. I reckon it's going to be a 1-1 draw. It's going to be a good crowd on Saturday. Vale are a good side with a good manager, and we're going to have to be wary of that. We're going to go for a 1-1 draw. Wednesday against Portsmouth. Now, this was the last game of the season last year, where Wednesday came out 4-1 winners. Portsmouth, in fairness, have improved in the last few days. And this Dane Scarlett, Joe Pigott, which are, you know, really good signings. Colby Bishop are really strong signings for this level. I don't think George Hurst will come back to the football club. Apparently, there's a $2 million marquee on him and they've got 3 strikers. I don't think they need a 4th. Marlon Pack in midfield, Zach Swatton. Good signings, but still a long way to go. And I think Wednesday will win this 2-0. They've also had a good window. You know, Volks and Michael Smith being part of that. 2-0. And finally, Wycombe against Burton. Burton, I think, will struggle this year and they've not improved. I think they've weakened, really, the window as everyone else has strengthened. They lack goals, lack creativity. I know Joe Powell signed a new deal. That's the only positive I can give them. The manager wants to jump ship it every 5 minutes, but Wycombe are organised. They'll get back on the winning train and challenge again. I'm going for a 2-0 Chairboys victory. So let me know your guys' predictions down below. We've got a couple of away wins, a few draws, a few shocks in there as well. So let me know what you think down below. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. So much more League One content coming your way this season. And again, looking forward to it. We're trying to make this a big season for everyone involved, and hopefully all our teams can have a decent year. Obviously, 4 have to go down. You know, 3 go up. So it's going to be a tough league, but let's see what goes on. Anyway, guys, until next time, I will see you later. Please remember to like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you haven't already.